Hey y'all, it's Yojo, and I'm still trying to figure out how to use this camera because sometimes it flips over and sometimes it doesn't. And I hope the lighting's okay. It might be better than the lighting that I shot with this morning. I realized my last video was like almost 20 minutes, so I've decided to make shorter videos just in case my other one gets the too long didn't watch treatment. And I'm going to separate the issues that I have with the Norma Hair Women's Center and the Cleveland Police Department, even though they are kind of the same thing. And I'm over the bridge. I am on the other side of the Detroit Bridge. It's nice. Nice scenery for talking about shelters and police. Anyway, this video is going to be about the Cleveland Police Department and how I have encountered them so far. But I think I've only encountered them inside the Norma Hair Shelter. Women's Center. And unless the police get hired from more places, in which that would mean the police department also is security for the Greyhound station and so on. But anyway, like I said in the previous video, I get the impression that the police department does not care about the poor community, be they black or whatever other color. But as we've seen in previous attitudes towards certain people, not just here in Cleveland, Ohio, with Tamir Rice and some other events that have gone on, I'm sure have taken place. But Tamir Rice is the event that got all the hype because of the timeline in which it happened in the midst of so many other events. There's also the latest case in McKinney, Texas, where a police officer basically used military tactics to tackle a group of African American or Americans of African descent teenagers. And this is all a part of the greater picture of why I am one of the people that believes that we should abolish the police, because it's becoming a police state where these people, some of which are good citizens that want to protect the public, and others of which want to just live behind their gun and badge, and some of which join the police force because they've left the military and they still use these overrated, over-excessive military tactics to still enforce their idea of law, as we saw in McKinney, Texas. I liked it when that guy did that roll. They don't really show the barrel roll he did that much, but he even did like a barrel roll on the fucking scene where they were trying to break up a fight, and we know what the fight was about now. And there was a fight between teenagers and adults, as it turns out. But anyway, back to Cleveland, Ohio. What I said was, based on the few security guards that I have talked to in the Norma Hair Women's Center, two of them have outwardly expressed very little empathy towards homeless people. And one of which, a male officer that's been there for a long time, as far as I know, expressed that we shouldn't be allowed to come and go in the shelter as we please, and we should just live under our little bridge and just stay there, in a shorthanded version of what he said. But the words "we should just stay under our bridge" is what he used. And another officer that was very overly aggressive and very assaulty, I don't know what the word for that, very assaulting towards people, said that if we are caught when we misbehave, we should be forced to sleep out on the streets. Not that that doesn't come with the risk of the exposure, assault. Not too long ago, a man in another city, I forgot where it is now, got set on fire just for sleeping out in the open, and it was done by some presumably suburban people, males between their 20s and 30s, because assaulting homeless people is just a thing to do, and women are no exception. And we also get the added effect of rape. I mean, of course, men get raped as well, but it's not something that society wants to talk about. But rape is a thing that affects us all, not just women and females and such. So, and the officer also, when I pointed out that she was being very verbally abusive, she said that I don't know what verbal abuse is, despite the fact that I was harassed and assaulted in school, and I was also abused by my family. So after that, I later saw this same officer, not too much later, yelling at the top of her lungs towards some other clients about a thing that I don't know about. But from the looks of it, her face was turning red, and she was yelling and swearing at them, and the other clients were just standing there staring at her with very odd looks on their faces. Not the looks that people that are trying to actually start some sort of altercation or argument over, but looks of confusion, maybe even fear, because she does have a gun and she does have the authority to detain people with or without a reasonable cause. They call it obstruction of the peace or whatever in cop talk, but we call it oppression and violence towards a certain group of people. So I have gotten the taste of it for myself that the Cleveland police are not composed of the most compassionate people. I have started to feel like, based on the attitudes that I've seen, the male officers, or I presume they're male, they are there to have the male effect over a group of women. Like, just to have a male presence, whether or not they actually want to protect people. But they are certainly not there to particularly care about safety. They are there because male presence and, the patriarchy and capitalism and stuff like that. And I got the new capitalism argument for someone else. So if you're watching this, kudos to you. And the female officers are there for some sort of punishment. One officer that I had a disagreement, if you will, with another client long prior to this event, expressed to that client that she was there because she lost her job. And I know that the police are kind of like the military in a way that they have different factions of areas of certain jobs that these certain officers do. And they can lose a position in that, but still, of course, be a police officer. And so it's like a frustration that comes with the female officers, because the men seem to want to be there for whatever their reasons are, but the women are in some sort of punishment to be there. And it adds, I'm sure it adds even more frustration to be in a women's shelter where it's even more closer to the idea that at any point it could be any one of these female officers or women officers, as I perceive them, in that shelter amongst us. And I'm not speaking for all of them, but I can definitely say that based on their attitudes, I can speak for some of them. So, and I'm glad I came here because it gave me more education on the issues of racism and capitalism and classism and stuff like this. But I mean, for me, sometimes it is hard to pinpoint racism because there are so many other underlying factors going on with certain situations. But in my experiences, I am definitely more versed in spotting capitalism and classism. And I can definitely say that at the very least, this is classism. Or more so, well, I won't say more so, but running alongside the fear of an alternate reality sitting so close to you. But of course, this is all a theory based on people that I don't particularly know. Some I haven't particularly spoken to, some I don't want to speak to, and some, but a lot of it is based on behaviors that I've seen. I can tell by how they act. I can definitely tell by one particular male officer that I only saw once that he was definitely in in there for the power struggle. Like, he was there because he actually wanted to have power and authority over people. And even in checking people's bags, he was verbally assaulting them, like not berating them like the female officer from last night. The incident happened at about 9:30. Officer, blonde hair, blue eyes, Caucasian, of course. Kind of stout, but that may have been her bulletproof vest. Maybe about my height, about 5'5". But the different officer, the one I'm talking about now, is a man. Well, no, I was talking about her. See my train of thought. He wasn't berating people. He was just like being aggressive with his manner of questioning. Like, do you have any weapons? And just, do you just, I don't know if you know. Maybe you have to really feel the heat of somebody trying to drill you for something that they are looking for, to find the fault in you to know what that feels like. Not that there isn't already enough fault going on, because if we lived in a perfect world, we wouldn't need shelters and the police in the first place. And we don't need the police now. We don't need them nearly as much as we need shelters, because they are going into places where people are supposed to feel safe and acting like that and making them even worse. They are feeling even more unsafe and tense because now they have these people that are coming into places that are supposed to be safe for them, antagonizing them and threatening their freedom, of course, with some form of short or long-term incarceration if they even so much as piss them off. And they can just dream up any reason to arrest them, like disorderly misconduct or some shit. So, as horrible as this place has been, I'm glad I came here because it was very educational. And I will definitely take the lessons that I have learned in Cleveland, Ohio with me. Now, the next video will be about the thing. See ya. Love you.